Perfect.
You can do initials on your ranking
We're gonna
sheet.
do initials on the ranking sheets because no two
Might be
candidates have
easier
the
for
same
you,
initials.
write the name down.
Are we ready?
Yeah, we can go down to a couple of
Okay, is everybody ready?
Yep,
initials of the candidates.
yes.
On this, on this.
So like the first box would be DM.
Okay. Let's get rolling. Call meeting to order, special city council meeting for November 29, 2022. Roll call, please.
I was just out there telling him to start. Are we on?
Yeah, we're.
Okay.
We're going to do pledge of allegiance first. Please rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Mark, I think you gotta let him in. Oh, Billy got it.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Pierre Washington,
Here.
Councilmember David Oro,
Here.
Vice Mayor Miriam Abadamos. Oh, Councilmember Mark Joseph,
I'm here too.
and Mayor Leon Garcia.
Here. We'll move on to the business of the evening, planning commission, planning commission interviews. Interviews to select 3 applicants for appointment to the planning commission.
Hi, if we could please have you go to the podium.
Good evening, welcome. I think you got the outline of how we're going to proceed this evening in terms of you need to go over it again. You got 20 minutes. Each of us will have there's a clock ticking up there, yellow light flash. There's not going to be any buzzer or anything, just that's for your convenience.
Okay,
So each of us will have 2 questions each,
okay.
and we'll rotate, okay?
And we're asking the candidates to keep their answers to 2 minutes?
Yeah.
They have 20 minutes, so if they want to spend 18 on one and yes or no on the others,
Yeah, and then just a point of clarification, I'm asking one and then we're gonna do a round, correct?
Yeah.
Each
Yes.
okay, great. Great, thanks for being here. I have the first question for you. Tell us about yourself and why you want to be on the planning commission.
Okay. Well, first of all, my name is Devet Mohammed. I am a nurse liaison for Kindred Hospital in San Leandro. I am married, and I do have 3 adult children. They are 33, 30, and 28 years old. I have 2 grandchildren. They are 9 and 13. I've lived in American Canyon since 2009. I actually moved away in 2011 and dreamed of moving back, and I finally was able to in 2016, and I've lived here since. American Canyon is just an awesome community, has that small town feel. I want to be a part of Planning Commission because I'd like to help City Council continue to build a better city of American Canyon, and continue the development and progress it to where it's going.
Thank you.
Next question would be Councilmember Washington.
Good evening. How are you?
Well, thank you.
Good. My first question for you, and thank you for your introduction. I appreciate that. My first question for you is why should, and I know you don't know all the other candidates, but why should we select you over the other candidates?
Yes, I don't know the other candidates, so I wouldn't know how to compare myself, but why should you pick me? Well, let's see. Just recently, I helped a candidate, Jesse Corpus, in his run for city council, and during that time, I fell more in love with the city of American Canyon, and I saw the potential and the ability to help in the different communities. So I would say that I have a passion for seeing the city of American Canyon grow and continue the projects that are going on now that won't just benefit the city of American Canyon in the next 5 to 10 years, but in the next 25 to 50 years. And I'd like to be a part of that and retire here. That would be awesome.
Thank you.
Councilmember Joseph?
Well, you kind of hit on some of these, but what would you like to accomplish while you're on the Planning Commission?
What would I like to accomplish being on the Planning Commission? Well, first of all, I would like to help create the environment of teamwork with City Council and the Planning Commission. I would like to help be an asset to the community, bridge the gap between the builders, between the businesses, the residents. We have the Napa Valley Unified School District. We have the Napa Valley Transportation Authority, I think it's called, and PG&E, Caltrans. There's just so much going on in the city of American Canyon. I would like to help bridge the gap between the businesses and the residents and come to a cohesiveness.
Okay, guys, do I have to push the button the whole time I'm talking?
No, just
No,
press it once and it should be green.
Just turn it on green.
Excellent.
You're good.
Sorry.
You're not on yet.
Oh, it's
yes,
green.
you are.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
What is your vision for American Canyon?
Oh, what is my vision for American Canyon? Oh, like I said, there's just so much going on right now. There are, 42 PICs going on, or CIPs going on. I'd like to see the city of American Canyon continue to grow with the housing, the developments. I'd like to see the city of American Canyon be a place that's diverse, which it already is, inclusive, which I think it already is, but just continue to grow. And so I want to see American Canyon be a niche upscale community to Napa County, like Lafayette and Clayton is to Contra Costa County. So that's what I would like to see.
I guess my turn now. Describe how you might handle a situation if you met resistance when introducing a new idea or policy.
I would do my homework first, get the facts, find out the pros and cons, do my go to meetings. Then I would go to the decision makers and see why do they want to do what they want to do in the city of American Canyon, and help communicate with to the residents what the pros and cons would be for whatever project is being resisted.
Okay. Thank you.
Can you
Laurel.
give an example of a city you visited or read about that has great planning, and tell us why? Or alternatively, you can tell us about a city that has poor planning, but also tell us why.
So many cities to choose from. No, I would say the most recent one that I recently read about was the city of Long Beach. Their population doesn't compare to ours. Ours is a population of 21,000. Theirs is a population of 477,000, I think I read. But they have this, is it the Civic Center or the Center Community? They have redevelopment going on in the city of Long Beach. They redid the airports. I used to fly into there a lot, and it wasn't that great. It was like Honolulu, not Honolulu, Maui, the little airports. But just from the pictures that I've seen, it looks a lot better from the airport. And then also, the city of Long Beach is known as the Coastal Gateway, and we're known as the gateway to Napa County, or to the Napa Valley. So I would like to continue to see us develop the way the city of Long Beach is developing and progressing.
Thank you.
Did you want her to answer a question about us?
No, no,
You're good? You're
either
good? Okay,
or.
Okay, sounds good. My second question is, what do you think the city's economic development priorities should be and why?
I think we're already working on the city development priorities as far as bringing in new businesses, which in turn will bring in new jobs. And then the housing, bringing in the affordable housing, I think is awesome. The Watson Ranch model homes are open. I didn't get a chance to see it because it's by appointment only. But just the housing, the developments, the affordable housing, the apartments. And then another important thing I think would be climate, the climate issue with the drought and the fire and yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So tell us how you'd go about developing a good working relationship between the Planning Commission and the City Council, making sure the commission understands the council's priorities and that any commission concerns are communicated to the council.
That's a good question. I'd go back to my previous answer of doing my homework. If I don't know what the issues are or what's going on, I would definitely learn and see how we can progress as a team. Definitely relationship building and building the sense of trust within the community and City Council and the Planning Commission. It's a lot of transparency, communication, I think, that needs to be done, and keeping an open mind, and hopefully that can happen on both ends.
It's my turn again. Which of the following statements best reflects your personal philosophy regarding development? And please explain your answer. A, the city needs more development and growth and should do whatever is needed to make that happen. Or B, no development project should move forward if the community's quality of life is compromised in any way.
The first one, can you read that again, please?
Absolutely. The city needs more development and growth and should do whatever is needed to make that happen.
Definitely that one for me. We have, like I said, 42, I want to say, projects that are going on right now, and that's a lot for the population that we have. And the city's going to continue to grow, and I would like to see it progress and be the best city that it could possibly be. So growth and development I'm definitely for, to help build our community and have gathering places for our kids after school, and people work from home. We want some place to go to during our breaks or after work. So,
Thank you.
Just kind of summarize a bit of the questions for right now, but please expand on it. How do you feel about the direction American Canyon is going with projects like the Broadway District Specific Plan, Green Island and Watson Ranch, and Napa Valley Ruins and Gardens? Could you elaborate on those?
how do I feel? I feel excited. I feel excited because the city of American Canyon just has so much potential, and to get new energy here, to the housing developments, the town shopping center, the ruins. I actually went to the ruins after the gala that you guys had and was able to look at all the artistry, and I think the plan was to preserve that as well as build around it. It's just so exciting for not just the residents for the city of American Canyon, but for our visitors, that we're going to have opportunities to open tourism being at the tip of Napa Valley. I'm excited for everything that's happening in the city of American Canyon, all the projects that have already been started.
Thank you. That concludes our questions. Why don't you leave?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You could, yeah.
Pick a door.
The back one's open over there for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Council members, I did get a text that some of you are hard to hear. So if you're looking this way, just make sure you're still speaking directly into the mic.
Still don't line up with your mic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna eat it.
Yes. Like a rock star.
Thanks, David. Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Next up, we should have Eric Altman.
That's all.
You good?
I said I love how OCD organized Teresa is because this is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome, Eric. If you could go to the podium, please.
Good evening, welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
Good to have you here. I think you got a briefing on how we're proceeding this evening. We're going to have questions in order. You got 20 minutes. You have a yellow light there also. It's more for your convenience.
There we
One time.
go.
All right, very good. Okay,
All right, thank you. Eric, I have the honor of asking the first question, and I kind of know it, but we should tell the rest of the panel here. Tell us about yourself and why you want to continue to be on the Planning Commission.
I don't know what you want to know about me, but I am gainfully employed in the surety bonding industry. I've been an American Canyon resident since 2004. And I've tried to participate in the community in a variety of ways since moving into town, whether it be coaching Little League and soccer and a little bit of basketball. My kids have stopped doing all of that stuff. They've gone on to other things. You know, I've been on Planning Commission because, and our friends at Watson Ranch are very familiar with this, but it was the original ideas on that got me interested in Planning Commission. I didn't like what the original town center proposal was. Gave me the sense of Pleasant Hill downtown, which is basically some government buildings around a strip mall. And I was like, no, I don't want that for where I live. How can I prevent it? You know, get on Planning Commission and you have a say. So that's how I initially got involved. I think I've had some positive impacts over the years, many of them. And I enjoy it, and I'd like to continue to have an impact.
Thank you.
Good evening, Eric. I'll be asking the second question. I know you don't know all of the candidates that are applying for this position, but what did you think, or why do you think we should select you over the other candidates?
I think I have an experience and a background that ties in very well, and I think that's why initially I was selected. What I do professionally, I work with developers, I work with public works construction contractors, I work with other businesses. I analyze contracts, I analyze financial statements, I analyze risk. That's basically, in a nutshell, what my professional job is. And so when you put that all together with the fact that I've been on council, and to a certain extent at this point I'm like not on council, on commission rather, I'm sort of the Planning Commission historian in a sense, because I've been doing it for so long, that there's a backlog of knowledge that would be, I believe, very valuable to be retained and taken advantage of going forward.
Thank you, Eric, and I appreciate what you've done since you've been on here.
Thank you.
All right. Eric, it's my turn.
All righty.
What would you like to accomplish for the next 4 years while you're on the Planning Commission?
You know, the accomplishments really come from you guys as council members. I can tell you some of the things that I would love to see happen. I'd love to see the Watson Lane annexation and that whole area come into the city. I'd love to see the city expand its boundaries a little bit further. I'd love to see some different approaches to dealing with traffic issues taken. I know we have relied heavily, and we're making headway, certainly with Devlin opening. That's a big positive. Newell, hopefully, and again, that's where the Watson Lane annexations will really come in handy in getting Newell done. But I think there are other approaches that can be taken to trying to deal with the traffic issue, which is one of the big issues. It's a mix of things, but really the direction comes from council. I guess the one thing that I would love to see accomplished is something that you and I have talked a little bit about, and I've talked with a couple of the other council members about in the past. I believe that there should be a more direct, and I know there's Brown Act issues, and I get it, but more direct collaboration between council and planning commission so that we know we're on the same page, because we have occasionally, thankfully not often, but had an issue arise where we were not on the same page. And I think that comes from having, I would suggest, a beginning of year planning meeting, joint meeting or off-site or whatever, to talk about what the goals are and what council is looking to accomplish and how the planning commission can assist with that. And planning commission can at that point raise any objections or issues of like, hey, wait a minute, no, we don't think that makes sense. And sort of work issues out so that we don't wind up where we're approving something and then it goes to you, or we're declining something even better, and it goes to you on appeal, and you guys approve it, and it leaves us going, well, we thought we were carrying out the council's wishes. How did this go wrong? What happened? So I guess in terms of, if you want one thing that I would love to see, I'd love to see that issue addressed.
You're looking at me, you already know it's my turn.
I see how we're working, down here, and I'm going to ad-lib, David, at your expense. I hope you'll forgive me. But what was it? Low man on the totem pole starts, and then we work our way up to the top.
So this should be an easy question for you. What is your vision for American Canyon?
It's one that I've been asked many times, and I have repeatedly given the same answer. To me, American Canyon and the beauty of this community is we should be the recreational destination, outdoor recreational destination of the Napa Valley and of the North Bay as a whole. We have, with hiking trails and biking trails and the natural beauty, and if we can add a few additional things, to further push that forward, I'd love, and I know there's been talks, if the, Parks Foundation can be successful with the transition of what is currently the Corporation Yard into an eco-center, and we can put a kayak or other small boat launch in, that opens up waterway access, which further enhances our ability to, push ourselves as the place where, you want to go to drink wine, you go a little bit further up valley. Hopefully we'll have some places in town that Watson Ranch is going to bring to us, hopefully. You can do that here too, but even if you're going to go up valley to some of the other wineries, you want to stay down here, because when you're not drinking wine, maybe you want to go out and enjoy nature. So to me, that's how I view and what I want to see for American Canyon.
Thank you. The next question. describe how you might handle a situation, excuse me, if you met resistance when introducing a new idea or policy. How do you handle a situation like that?
I'm a native New Yorker. I deal with things directly. So, how do I deal with resistance? Directly. You talk about it. You get to what the issues are. You try and find a amicable solution. And, without having a specific example, Mr. Mayor, it's a little more difficult. So we're talking totally theoretical, hypothetical type stuff here. That's my approach. You deal direct, you deal honest, you talk about it, you brainstorm on it, you enlist support of people who, understand the issue. You look for expertise. You try and bring that to bear. And if at the end of the day, my position loses, that's life. You move on, and you do it without remorse and without recriminations and without, attacking the party whose ideas, won the day. And you just kind of say, it is what it is, and, I still might not like it. That's the way it goes, and you just move on.
Thank you.
Can you give an example of a city you visited or read about that has great planning, and tell us why? Alternatively, you can tell us about a city that has poor planning, but tell us why. Either or.
Well, I'm glad you added the second option on poor planning, because I already alluded to it earlier. Pleasant Hill, I think, is a lovely little community, but what they did with their government center and strip shopping center and, blending it all together, for me, it's a city that could have a sense of place. Its neighbors do. Walnut Creek has a sense of place. Concord has a sense of place. Pleasant Hill, I don't think there's any sense of place, and I think it's because of bad planning, because they did not, there wasn't the foresight to understand that when you put the strip mall with the government buildings, it really, when people think of Pleasant Hill, and maybe you guys have different perceptions, but I think of the strip mall. That's it. You got the movie theater in the strip mall, and you got the various eating places and so on, and it's, and then you got a few government buildings behind it. Okay, that's Pleasant Hill. It's not a well-designed city in my mind, and I think it's because whether it's city staff or their council or their planning commission, I think somebody blew it, big time. So.
My second question for you there, Eric, and I don't think there's anybody in Pleasant Hill watching tonight, so
It's
lucky
okay.
you.
And even if there is, it's going back to the mayor's question, right?
Right, being from the East Coast.
I'll be direct, and then we can discuss it.
That I can say you are, 'cause my East Coast brother. My second question for you is, what do you think the city's economic development priorities should be, and why?
I'd love to say we should focus on becoming a, high-tech or biotech center. Well, great, but let's deal with what's likely and where we are and what's real. I think that there are a lot of things that we can focus on, and some of it is a matter of dealing with reality. I keep hearing people, and I'm on Nextdoor periodically, and not a big fan, but check it out and so on. And people are clamoring for retail. Well, the reality is, for the most part, retail today, food, whether it's restaurant or grocery store, medical, and services. That's retail. all of the clothing stores and boutiques and whatnot, they're going away, they're dead, they're dying. So let's not try and focus on retail, right? Because I don't see much future there. I think with the, I don't think we need to have vineyards and have wineries in town, but we are an essential part, because of our warehousing capabilities, of the wine industry, and it brings revenue. I think that I'd love to see us have more medical facilities. I think we're good on the dental side, but I think we're weak on the actual medical side. When I first moved here, there was a pediatrician in town. There hasn't been one in a long, long time. I would love to see us have, other medical, orthopedic surgeon, various other folks opening offices in this community, because I think that services, and it's funny because, and Mr. Mayor, you know this, we have a lot of people, particularly on the nursing side, but in the medical profession, who live and work in this community. Wouldn't it be great if we had more medical here and they could stay and work closer to home? So to me, that's an area I would say that is a really big potential for economic development and an area we can focus on. So I hope that gives you some insight.
Thanks, Eric.
My Philly brother.
All right. Well, Eric, you've already kind of alluded to some of this, but it's on my list to ask you, so here goes. So how would you develop a good working relationship between the Planning Commission and the council, making sure the commission's understands our priorities and the commission's concerns are communicated to council? Maybe elaborate on what you asked a little or answered a little earlier.
Yeah, it's a matter of communication. It's a matter of talking. It's a matter of setting up the opportunities for us as two bodies to get together and meet and talk so that we stay on the same page. I can get together with you individually, with Pierre, with Mayor Garcia, with Vice Mayor Abdamas, with my pal David, and we can have individual conversations, but that doesn't do anything in terms of, because those wouldn't violate the Brown Act, those don't do anything in terms of setting the priorities and aligning the two bodies to work together. So to me, it really comes down to what I was talking about earlier. I think each year should start with some sort of, whether it's a joint meeting, a retreat, I could care less, but a city council, planning commission meeting, get together, whatever, where ideas on topics and issues that are likely to be coming up are shared and discussed and hammered out so that everybody stays on the same page. Whether that needs to happen more than once a year, maybe, but I think to start the year, that's something that really should be considered and really should be done, and I think it would lead to a lot more transparency, not only between council and commission, but to the general public as well, because they'd see that we're more closely aligned. And, I think that just works to everybody's benefit.
My turn again.
Good.
Which of the following statements best reflects your philosophy regarding development? And please explain your answer. So A, the city needs more development and growth and should do whatever is needed to make that happen. Or B, no development project should move forward if the community's quality of life is compromised in any way.
Can they both be true?
It's up to you.
Because that's what I would say. I mean, I'd say the B answer, yeah. I mean, you don't grow simply to grow if it's going to harm the community. So, B obviously makes sense. But A also makes sense in that, look, we keep hearing, and I alluded to Nextdoor earlier, we keep hearing from people, they want more, they want this, they want that, they want Trader Joe's, they want, whatever. Well, a lot of these things that they want, the only way you're going to get is when you hit a certain critical mass. If we stay as a city of, and I'm going to use the latest numbers I've seen, 20,000, and I know we're not, but if we stay at 20,000, I think it's incumbent upon council to turn around and say, whether it's through Nextdoor or other channels, guys, if we stay at 20,000, Trader Joe's never coming here. Talk to them. Find out what their minimums are in order to move into a location, right? And, so growth is wanted, but it's got to be smart, intelligent growth. It's not grow at all cost. It's grow intelligently with a focus, with knowing what you're trying to get to and what the end goal is and where you want to go. So I hope that helps. Mr. Mayor, you get to wrap me up here.
Yes, I'm just finishing my note. Thank you.
There you go.
Some of this you've already answered, but maybe you could elaborate more on it, okay? How do you feel about the direction of American Canyon is going with projects? For example, like Broadway District Specific Plan, Green Island and Watson Ranch, and Napa Valley Ruins and Gardens.
I think in general, the city is heading in the right direction. We've made some great strides in pushing some things forward. Do I think there should be some fine tuning on certain issues? Yes. You mentioned the Broadway District. I think, and one of the things I've heard from other people is, and I believe we could incorporate, is some sort of family entertainment zone. One of the other complaints that I hear routinely and I experience with my own kids is there's not enough entertainment for them to keep them occupied. And if there were more things that we could bring into town, and I think along Broadway is the place to put it, that would be something that we should look to bring in. But overall, I mean, Ruins and Gardens it's nice to see it starting to kind of take some shape, and some of the Watson Ranch projects getting built out and going forward. The Oat Hill development, I'm excited to see kind of what's going to happen there. Green Island Road, can't wait to see that thing repaved and get some more of the warehouses opened, which is just going to help with the tax revenues and the ability of the city to do more. So, hope that helps.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, guys. And I
That
didn't go too
concludes our
far
questions.
over.
Thank you for coming down.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Eric.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming this evening.
Next will be Elmer Minade. Hi, Elmer. Thank you. To the podium, please.
Good evening, welcome.
Good evening.
I think you had a briefing on how we're going to proceed with our questions this evening.
Okay.
You have 20 minutes, there's going to be a yellow light come on, and you have about a minute left, if it takes that long.
So you won't press the yellow light?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry.
City clerk will keep the time.
You'll just notice there's a 20-minute and it will just count down.
We're not going to hit any buzzer or anything
Yeah.
like that, or,
Yeah.
Okay.
If it gets to 19 minutes, the yellow light will come on.
Not like it's not nerve-wracking enough.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
right. No game show alarm.
It's about 2 minutes per, your answer should be about 2 minutes per question, but it's up to you.
All right.
I'll give you a timeout.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I've been fighting a cold for 2 days now and
That's all right.
not making any headway. So
Keep your cooties over there and we'll be fine.
that's
All
a
right.
negative.
Yep. So, listen, I have the first question for you. Tell us about yourself and why you want to be on the Planning Commission.
Well, I'm a resident of American Canyon since 2008, father of 4, and a small business owner here in town. I want to be part of the Planning Commission because I want to be part in shaping the future of the city. I think I have some talents that I could bring to the table and want to help out and play an active role.
Thank you.
Good evening, Elmer. I'll have your second question for you. That question is, you good?
Yeah.
Okay. Why should we select you over the other candidates? And I know you don't know all the other candidates, but if you could just speak in your thought process,
In general
why you think
terms.
you're the better candidate.
Absolutely right. I don't know any of them, but I could tell you this: I am a hardworking person, and I know what my goals are. And if you know your goals, and if you're willing to put in the work, dig in your heels, roll up your sleeve, anything could be done. So I think that is my biggest asset bringing to the table, and that's why you should select me.
Thanks, Eric.
All right.
Elmer, sorry.
Well, I have a couple of questions, but I'll ask one at a time. First, what would you like to accomplish while you're on the Planning Commission?
I would like to get things done. I mean, Planning Commission is, in its name, it's kind of deceiving, right? I mean, it's all about planning and things like that. But plans would only remain plans unless you actually implement it. So the implementation is a different aspect. So things could only be implemented if it's planned correctly. And I think that's very important, his role as a planning commissioner.
All right, thank you.
Good evening. Thank you
Good
for being
evening.
here with us this evening. What is your vision for American Canyon?
Okay, I think I've said this a few times, but my vision for American Canyon is for it to become the best that it could be. I mean, that's kind of cheesy and broad, really. But American Canyon has an opportunity, being a young city, to actually shape itself. And playing an active role at this point, I think, is very important. So that is my vision for the city. I want to take an active role in ensuring that the city that I envision, the American Canyon that I envision, actually becomes a reality. And that is a city that I chose to come into. I wasn't born here in American Canyon. I chose to come here. And so as a person who's been here for quite a while now and who's involved in the comings and goings of the city, I want to take another step and play an active role. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Oh, I should ask, you have met everybody here on the council, have you?
I'm sorry?
You know all the council members here, right?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Just want to make sure. You kind of touched on some of this, that question I'm going to ask you, but if you could elaborate a little more. How do you feel about the direction American Canyon is going with projects like Broadway District Plan, like Green Island and Watson Ranch, and the Napa Valley Ruins and Gardens?
Mayor, I feel great about it. I think we're at a turning point. But let's divide that question into two parts. So now the Watson Ranch and the ruins, that's something tangible. You go up to Oat Hill or you go up to the Newell open space, you could see them paving roads, moving dirt, building homes. So that's actually here right now. I mean, the Broadway specific development plan and the Green Island development plan, that may need a little bit more work. But the plans are there, and that's what's important. So, I think the next 5 to 10 years is going to be very dynamic for the city of American Canyon. The plans are here, so let's get it done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My second question is, can you give an example of a city you visited or read about that has great planning and tell us why? Alternatively, you can tell us about a city that has poor planning and tell us why. One or the other.
I have been to Seoul, Korea. And I'm talking about the city, not just essentially where the airport is. And I think that is an example of great planning. I think they have incorporated some open space. There's a lot of green areas, but there's also a lot of development within Seoul. I haven't been, but I heard that Singapore is another great city when it comes to planning. And again, it is because of that delicate balance of gentrification and of conservation. Unfortunately, I could tell you that I came from a very poorly planned metropolis. Manila is very poorly planned. I have firsthand experience of the ill effects of overdevelopment, pollution, the lack of open space and lack of greenery. And I don't want to see that happening here. On the other hand, it is through development where city progresses. And it's development that brings revenue into the city and gives them the capacity to do the things that they want to do. Coming from a developing country, I think I bring that perspective of seeing both firsthand. If not for development, I'd be back home playing with sticks and dirt, and I wouldn't be up here talking to you. So I value development. But also on the other hand of that, I've seen the ill effects of overdevelopment, and there's really no reason for us to lose open space and protect and conserve what we already have, because it's beautiful over here. And that's why I'm still here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Elmore. And I like your perspective of using another country. I wasn't expecting another country to be put into it, so thank you. My second question, what do you think the city's economic development priorities should be and why?
Economic development, something that is meaningful to the people of American Canyon. If it's not going to serve the people that live here, then we probably shouldn't focus on it. Economics is such a tricky thing. If you think of economics, you think about money, revenue, and all that sort. But also, you have to take into consideration what type of economics you want to bring into the city, because it is something that should be long-term. And it should be acceptable to the people of American Canyon. So for that, maybe, I've always thought about this, and I'm not even sure if it's part of any plan that's going on right now. But American Canyon needs something where people can congregate. We don't have that here. We don't have a movie theater, a bowling alley, maybe a Dave & Buster's. And up there in the hill, they're doing some type of a downtown type of situation. Maybe that's a perfect opportunity to attract that type of business so that people don't have to go out of American Canyon. If a family decides, oh, you know what, Friday night we're going to spend some time with the family, bring the kids into the car, we're going to go see a movie, we're going to have dinner, we're going to play bowling. We're not getting out of American Canyon, we have it here. So I think that's one particular aspect. I mean, I'm sure there's broader and bigger things that needs to be considered, but that's one aspect that I want to see here, because I don't have it here. I have young kids, and if my kids wanted to see a movie, it's either we're going to Vallejo, Fairfield, or Napa. If they want to go to Dave & Buster's, same thing. So we need, if we're a young community and our population is comprised of young families with young children, we should have that available here in our community.
Thank you, Elmer.
All right. Now let's talk a little bit about working relationships between the Planning Commission and the Council. How would you work on improving that working relationship, making sure that the Planning Commission understands the Council's priorities and that the Council can relate to any Commission concerns? Working relationships.
I think in any type of relationship, working or otherwise, key is communication. So it doesn't really hurt to sit down and discuss what needs to be done. I understand that both the council and the commission has its own roles that they have to play. But the commission is required to submit a plan to council so that council can vote on it or implement it or do whatever it is that needs to be done to make it happen. So, the seamless interaction between the two is really, really important. And I think half of the time, personalities gets in the way. And I'm not just talking about the relationship between commission and council, but in any type of relationship, personalities gets in the way, opinions get in the way. I think if we set that aside and we actually concentrate on what needs to get done and focus on the job that's on hand, I think we could get a lot done, and I think it would really improve the relationship between the two.
Can I follow up on that?
Yes,
Can
sir.
you give me a couple of examples or an example of how you might make that happen or recommend happening it?
Well, for one, if everybody just focus on what they need to do and they do it right and in a timely and acceptable manner, I think that's a good start. If commission is tasked to do something, they need to get it done at the commission level so that by the time it gets to council, council doesn't have to do their work all over again. Because that's, it makes that seamless interaction between the two. Commission is tasked to make a proposal or to do something so that they could submit it to council and council can vote and act on it. So council shouldn't be doing their work and rehashing it over here in this chambers. It should be done out there and presented in a manner it should be something that could be acted upon.
Thank you for that. Which of the following statements best reflects your personal philosophy about development? And please explain your answer.
Okay.
Okay, so the first statement, the city needs more development and growth and should do whatever is needed to make that happen. Got it? Second statement, no development project should move forward if the community's quality of life is compromised in any way.
Miriam, with all due respect, I don't think I could pick one. Now, I'm gonna tell you why. Because I, as a general rule in life, I don't like absolutes. So words like no development would ever happen unless this, or we shouldn't do that unless this is done. I really don't like to hear that because I believe that everything could be open for discussion. And I think that's really is what's lacking in the world these days, just in the world in general, is because people tend to polarize things and move at the opposite ends totally. Nobody's willing to go out and reach out and find a middle ground into these types of things. And so for that reason, I don't like absolutes. I think that a combination, and I think I mentioned this earlier, but a combination of conservation and preservation coupled with responsible development is the way how we could achieve a better future for our city. Thank you.
Describe how you might handle a situation if you met resistance when introducing a new idea or policy.
I would listen. Because resistance is not always a red flag. Sometimes that's a wake-up call. Maybe it's you who's not doing the right thing and you're not hearing what the other end is trying to say. So the first thing really is to listen and recognize what's the cause of this resistance. And again, going back to what I said earlier, sit down and start hashing out things and talk about it. Resistance is natural. I mean, as creatures of God, I would even dare to say, we're opposed to something that is foreign to us. for an idea, for an opinion, automatically you're opposed to it just because you don't understand, or you probably don't really pay attention as much as you should. So I think the best way to solve that problem is to sit down and listen and actually try to understand what this opposition really is trying to tell you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
That's
Excuse me,
it.
thank you very much.
All right.
Completed it. All right.
Thank you. Thank you
you.
for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Elmer.
Didn't hurt at all.
Next, we should have Humberto Rodriguez.
Brent, real quick before the next person come in, I know Elmer said he was sick. I know he touched the mic a couple of times. For the safety of the next person, can we at least get that wiped down?
Do you have something? Yep.
Good idea, thanks.
Not because of you guys, I'm just paranoid. I breathed about it.
Where's your mask? Where's mine?
I kind of feel like with these monitors, I have.
I don't think so either. I was surprised to see you. Thanks, Bill.
You know you was a little DJ, doing a little scratching. That's David Orrell's house.
Right.
Especially nice to see you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Baby, is she up?
She's under the desk. It's kind of weird not having her at a.
Yeah.
Humberto is not here. Humberto is not here. So Humberto Rodriguez is not here. We're going to move on to our next candidate, Tammy Wong.
Tammy, we were just cleaning the area to make sure it's sterilized before you got to the podium. It's good. It's been double cleaned.
Well, thank you. I'm taking precautions, and I appreciate your precautions on my behalf.
Thank you, welcome. I think you had a little briefing about how the meeting's going to be going here, or the interviews rather. You've got 20 minutes. Yellow light will come on at about 19 minutes, roughly 2 minutes a question, and we'll go in order through each question. Okay? All right.
Great. So I get to ask the first question. Tell us about yourself and why you want to continue on the Planning Commission.
So I've lived in American Canyon for about 12 years, as most of you know, and I really enjoy living here. And I'd like to stay on the Planning Commission because, as Brent said when I first applied, Planning Commission is where everything is happening in the city. And I like knowing what's happening in my city. I like being involved, being able to ask questions, you know, and basically just try and help the city grow and add value to it as a resident and as someone who's involved in the community.
Thank you.
Hi, Tammy.
Hi, Pierre.
First off, thanks for everything you've done so far on the Planning Commission. You've been great. My first question is, why should we select you over the other candidates? Knowing that you don't know all of the other candidates, just explain to us why you should be the one chosen.
Okay. So I think if you've had an opportunity to look at any of the Planning Commission meetings, I am a person who comes to the meetings prepared. I do ask questions. I don't just sit there. I participate in the meetings, I ask questions, I follow up. At the last meeting, there was someone who asked a question at the public hearing, and the answer was unclear. So I took it upon myself saying, can we open up public comment? Let's go back and see, did the answer address this person's question? I'm always go out of my way, I think, if someone is coming to Planning Commission meeting and they have a public comment, I want to help them get an answer, even if the answer isn't in the scope of Planning Commission. We had someone come to our meeting and ask about all ability accessible playgrounds, and that was in our area, but when we brought the topic back up, Brent was able to help us and educate the person about who to talk to and how to navigate the process. Because enough of our residents do not take advantage of the opportunities they have to come to our city meetings, to ask questions, to get involved, and for our elected officials who are making, decisions on our behalf, we need to give you all our input. So I think one of my biggest things that I always try to do is get people to come to planning commission meetings, council meetings, to reach out and give you their input. I mean, that's the most important way I think I contribute. But I would like to stay on planning as well and see the general plan through. We've gotten a taste of it, but I'm very intrigued by the whole process. And and hopefully you'll select me so I continue to stay on and ask a lot more questions and find out how things are working in the city.
Thanks, Tammy. Nice plug for Brent, too.
Okay. Good evening. My question is, you kind of alluded to some of it, but I'll ask anyway. What would you like to accomplish for the next 4 years if you were on the Planning Commission?
I think for the Planning Commission, I'd like to see the general plan finished. I'd like to find a way to encourage more people to get involved in our city, even part of a commission or a committee. I'd like them to understand the important role they have of just being participants in the meeting, providing support in other ways. And I think sometimes if I tell people that I am on the Planning Commission just as an individual, they sort of respect your opinion a little bit more if I just say, oh, I'm the neighbor next door, you should really go to city meetings. Whereas if I say I'm on the Planning Commission and here's like examples of how things changed when residents came and they got involved, that carries a little bit more weight. And I've had some successes in getting, neighbors and other people I know to come to meetings and, give their input and participate in our democratic process. Because that's when I got involved, was in 2018. And I think that was uppermost on my mind was, how I can participate at a local level, because everything else just seems so far away, whereas this is my city, I live here, I like it, I want to make it the best I can. And that's if we all just participate a little bit more. Thank you.
Good evening, Tammy. Thank you for being here tonight. What is your vision for American Canyon? And I think you kind of addressed that in your last question, but you're ahead of us.
Thank you, Miriam. I think my vision for American Canyon would be a place where people don't go to next door to complain. They think, how can I make this better? My sort of personal philosophy is if I'm not really willing to do something about it, I really shouldn't complain. So I try to be someone who, if I see there's a problem, to come at it with a solution as well. So for example, I was riding my bike on the linear path going to community garden. And I kind of felt these people I was going towards community garden, and these people approaching me, they saw me and they kind of didn't move over and they kind of looked at me. And then it suddenly dawned on me, I go to the city meetings. I know that's a bicycle path. But if you're just walking along, there was no indication that it's a bicycle path. So, I sent an email to our Public Works Director and our Parks and Rec Director, which was Creighton at the time. And they got it. They said, yes, there is no signage there. It's a bike trail. So they put down, they put up some bike signs. They put down those round logos, share the trail. And I was happy. So it's sort of, I thought I saw a problem, an easy fix, and I asked, and they did it, and I was really happy about it. So my vision would be a city where people see problems, and maybe there's a way that they can help fix it or get connected with the person who can fix it. Because you guys can't be everywhere, and neither can city staff. Thank you. You're welcome.
Some of this you've already kind of answered. If you feel like you have this, just elaborate a little further on it, okay? Describe how you might handle a situation if you met resistance when introducing a new idea or policy. How would you handle that?
Oh, well, thank you. That is a tough question. And I think that just speaks to, the diversity we have in our community, right? I'm on the Climate Action Committee with a couple of our council members, and that's the biggest thing going over in my mind is, how do we talk about this? There's so much diversity on that topic, and people, and it's honestly, I think we just have to start with listening to each other and see where our common ground is, because we have several big issues facing us as a city. We're growing, we have challenges. We saw Measure J. I mean, if you read next door, there was a wide variety of opinions on that. Dog poop on the trails, that's another divisive, all the cats running around everywhere, what to do about that, I mean. So we have problems as a community. And I think we just need to bring everybody together and have a forum where we can talk and kind of reason them out. What resources do we have? How can we work together on this? And I think that's the most important piece, is working together, because when we're in a silo, it's hard to accomplish anything.
Can you give an example of a city you visited or read about that has great planning and tell us why? Or alternatively, you can tell us about a city that has poor planning, but also tell us why. Either or.
Okay, thank you. So when I look, it's easy enough. I mean, when I look at the city of Vallejo, I think what a missed opportunity they had for their planning. It seems like they have some beautiful areas with water, but they haven't taken advantage of it. I look at the development downtown. I mean, why didn't they take more advantage of the water? Why is their downtown several blocks away? I mean, to me, it's all about the views and the vista. And I think for American Canyon, we've done a good job of preserving our open space. The wetlands is beautiful. I mean, we consider that our city's crown jewel, and I think it is. So I think in that respect, we've done a great job preserving some of our natural resources. And I would like to see more of that done. I'm looking forward to the Broadway District specific plan. I mean, that walk feel sort of ambience is going to be great. But planning is a difficult area, because as I'm always reminded, we don't control the purse strings for development. We're in partnership with people who want to invest in our community. And when they invest in our community, they're not seeing us, the residents. I think they're mostly seeing the thousands of people who drive down 29 as to how they can capture a piece of that. Like, we had a car wash come apply recently. And it's like, a car wash? Are you kidding me? Here I am hauling recycled water into my backyard, and you want potable water to wash cars? I mean, that was a hard application. It was sort of, and they saw the wisdom of that didn't work with potable water. But I think we can just look around us and see what we like about the different cities and what they've done, and try to encourage more of what we like here in American Canyon. And I think you've had an economic workshop where we talked about that, about having a development officer. Maybe we just take it a step further, and we all just need to have our little 30-second elevator pitch and be ready to pitch it to whoever we know who wants a business. What do we like about American Canyon? This is what I'd like to see. I'd like to see a medical compounding pharmacy. I order from them, 6 times a year for special medication for my cat, And there must be other people who do services like that. It's a high-paying job, right, for residents. It's not warehouses. I mean, I think that'd be a great business here in our city. I don't know how to pitch it to someone, but maybe if there was a little flyer, we all just send it out and try and attract the businesses we want, along with Trader Joe's.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Tammy. My second question is, what do you think the city's economic development priorities should be, and why?
So I think the biggest area for economic development right now is probably the Broadway District specific plan and our warehouse district. But I think for the residents, we mostly want the Broadway District specific plan to be something for us. All the warehouse development that happens, that mostly serves, other businesses. As a resident, I like to have places where I can go and browse or hang out and have a coffee. So I think the Broadway District specific plan is going to be, and the Watson Branch, when they get their area built up, will be of the most interest to our residents, because it will have services for us.
Thank you, Tammy. And I got to say before you go to the next question, I've always admired your involvement in the city, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Tammy, let's talk about good working relationships. How would you go about developing good working relationships between the Planning Commission and the Council, in which we're making sure the Planning Commission understands our priorities and we understand any concerns the Commission might have?
I think it's been a great opportunity when we have had those joint meetings and we had an opportunity to have, shared discussion on common topics. And I think I don't know if other commissioners have the opportunity to attend city council meetings like I do, but I've also found that's also a great opportunity to hear more of what you've said on different topics. And as most of you know, I've had one-on-one conversations with you. So that's another way that commissioners can develop their relationship with city council members. But I think what would be helpful for the community is to have more forums where public input is not limited to 3 minutes. That can be very frustrating for the public because they may not necessarily even get a response to their inquiry if it's at the public comment for non-agenda items where you're not technically allowed to respond. So I'd love to see more workshop, more informal type events. And I know we did have a traffic calming workshop, and I attended, several of my neighbors attended, but there weren't any council members in attendance. And I know that was difficult because we didn't really feel like it went as well as it could have been. So I definitely think council member, commissioners, all together with the residents is the best formula. And if there is a way that it could be more informal without the 3-minute limitation, I think even better. Thank you.
Which of the following statements best reflects your personal philosophy regarding development? And please explain your answer. A, the city needs more development and growth and should do whatever is needed to make that happen. Or B, no development project should move forward if the community's quality of life is compromised in any way.
So I have to pick one or the other?
You don't have to. You can answer however you please.
So I think the answer really is truly in the middle, because people who own land, they have the right to develop it. I mean, as long as it is within the zoning that's allowed for that area. And I think that's why it comes back to Planning Commission. I'm not trying to tell people don't build anything. I think what they can build as long as it's appropriate for whatever their zoning is. And the reason why we have these meetings is to get the public to come and give input. Like the car wash as an example. At one of their outlets, I think they had like a 10-foot tall yellow rubber duck out. And I don't know if it was just a promotional feature or what, but there was a picture on the internet. And so it's sort of, we have to see what the business is, what they plan to do. I mean, earth tones is our sort of scheme, right, for a lot of our commercial buildings. If someone came in and their colors were like black and white checkers with red dots, we'd be like, oh no, that doesn't kind of fit with what we want. So it's sort of a mix. I mean, I guess I'm sort of in the middle. It's not do whatever we have to because we just don't want anything. I think we want to be selective, and because once you build it, you can't unring that bell.
I just have a follow-up question for you. You said that developers have a right to build as long as it's within the zoning of their property. Are you opposed to changing zoning for any reason?
I am not opposed to changing zoning. I think it needs to be understood why the restrictions were there to start with and what has changed since around that decision that we may want to revisit it. I mean, was there a flaw in the original reasoning or understanding of why a certain zoning was put in place? Or, maybe the conditions have changed about a certain area, and now we want to revisit it. Like maybe now we know new information that there's an earthquake fault, so we change something. I mean, if we had new information or new understanding of existing information, it would be valid.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I think you've covered a bit of this with your other answers, but just if you could elaborate on it a little bit. How do you feel about the direction American Canyon is going with projects like the Broadway specific plan, Green Island and Watson Ranch, and Napa Valley Ruins and Garden?
I think all of those projects are going along, pretty well. I'm very interested to see how Watson Ranch turns out. We need sort of a more downtown area where you can go and hang out, and I think when that and Broadway District Specific Plan are fully built out, it will give us that opportunity. Right now, we're a little limited in what we have as far as, social features with businesses to hang out. So I think we're headed in the right direction. We're still growing. We're still fairly new by town standards, I think, being only about 1990s, so not that old.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
That concludes our questions.
Oh, well, that was it?
That was it. Thank you for
Okay.
coming in.
Well, thank you for selecting me for a follow-up interview. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tammy.
Take care.
Next, we will have Dr. Harold Pierre.
Can you not hear me when I talk?
Not really.
Really?
We can hear you, but it's not the way it's supposed to be. See, look, this is in the mic. You were talking right over here. You see the difference?
Yeah, I just don't want to have my head turned against the.
Yeah, the move the mic.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
That was Mike. David, how did I sound?
You sounded like a.
Look at you. You sounded good, Mark. You were fine.
Does this mean Humberto just is a no-show, or?
I would appear so.
What?
Dr.
Has
Pierre, welcome.
Umberto-
Good evening.
You know everybody here on the city council? Have you met
Not
all?
everyone.
Okay. Well, I'm Leon Garcia, the mayor. We'll go in order.
I'm Miriam Abudamis, the vice mayor. Nice to meet you.
My pleasure.
I'm Mark Joseph on the city council. Nice to meet you, too.
My pleasure.
David Oro. Thank you.
Pierre Washington, the rookie.
Good to see you.
Well, good evening, welcome. We have a series of questions we're going to be asking. You have about, you have 20 minutes. The yellow light will come on the dais there at 19 minutes.
Okay.
About roughly 2 minutes per question. And we'll go in order. And we'll start with Councilmember Oro.
Thank you for being here. Mr. Pierre, just tell us about yourself and why you want to be on Planning Commission.
I am a 22-year resident of American Canyon. I moved here when the population was around 7,000, and today it's, 22,000. And I've watched very closely the tremendous growth and development in a number of areas for the community, for the people, not only in housing, but education and recreation and unity and community. And I've often always talked about the different developments as I would just often even drive and just watch, park my car and watch the developments taking place, and trying to keep up as much as I could on what's taking place here in the city of American Canyon. And my son, my oldest son, said to me several months ago, "Dad, you always talking about what takes place in American Canyon. You ought to get on the Planning Commission." And I thought about that, and so that's how I got here today. I am a person raised up in California, born in Oakland, California, did all my education in California, been married to my wife we've been together for 38 years, and we are homeowners in LaVinge, and we have 2 sons, and we have 3 grandchildren now in the American Canyon School District, elementary, junior high, as well as high school. And our youngest son came through the same as well. And we are blessed. My oldest son, who, as I was sharing in the room earlier today, that he's on the plane right now, heading back to Canada. He oversees, well, he's a vice president with a company called BlackRock, you may be familiar with, and he oversees all of Canada's international investments. And so he's back and forth there to Canada. And my younger son, he works for Scaffold Designs. I can't quite get that full name, but he designs scaffolds. And the company is located right here in American Canyon.
Superior Scaffolding,
Not Superior.
Green Island?
It's way in the back there. But it'll come to me shortly. But yes, for a number of years, he's been designing scaffolds as well as the Warrior Stadium. He did a lot of the scaffold design for there. So we are a settled family, and I retired 3 years ago from my secular work where I was a administrator. And the reason I became an administrator because I was one of the founding members of the board that founded senior housing in the city of Oakland, and and I was a founding member on the board for 30-something years. And we developed 80 units going before commissions, city council, and all that it took to, and plus that we were doing a new design where this 8-story, 80-unit building consisted of a new type of framing. It was total steel framing, and so they didn't have that, So it took a big fight and a lot of change we had to go through. But it's a beautiful building today, as well as then several years later, we built right next door to it, a building for a 40-unit senior housing, and in order for that to take place, we discovered that the land that we brought, the home that we brought, that we moved the home off, but then the soil had a lot of contamination in it from years that no one knew before. So we had to deal with all of that. But there's 2 beautiful senior housing complexes where I'm the only surviving board member, as others have gone on. The reason I came off the board president at the time asked me to step down and become the administrator to make sure that things were keeping. So I did, and I became a certified HUD, passing other regulations to administrate a HUD senior housing. And so that's just a brief part of who I am. I'm also a pastor for 27 years of Pilgrim Community Church. It's a United Church of Christ in the city of San Francisco, where the church itself is 133 years old, and we have been having services through the YouTube, Facebook, and online since the pandemic hit. And although we have a very beautiful sanctuary, it's nothing we have to really worry about with that situation because it's paid for. And a lot of the members live in American Canyon, Fairfield, on this side of the bay. And so not having to pay that gas and toll, they're happy to get up, turn on their TV or turn on their computer and sit right there at home. And several members come and set me up right in my own home, and they just point to me and I go each Sunday. So that's how we've been having service. And so that's who I am. Also, you need to know that I have been serving as on the Napa Valley Juvenile Justice Board since 2013. I've been very faithful, dedicated, always present when we're physically present, and always present when we have our Zoom meetings and participating in the development and issues and financial proposals and the votes that keeps that section going, where we didn't have a number of applicants as we do for this position, but I kept the dedication and served and continue to serve today in that same capacity. So that's who I am in short. I know there's other questions, so I'll just stop right there.
Thank you for that. And I appreciate that introduction. And I'm glad you listened to your son and you applied for this position. But I've been always wanting to say this, Dr. Pierre. Sounds good. That sounds really good. My first question for you, though, Doctor.
Well, let me just say, when I speak to others, I got to say, when I say Pierre, but not that Pierre. So.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, so my question, number one for you, is why should we select you over the other candidates? And knowing that you don't know all the other candidates, just speak for what you know about yourself and why we should select you.
I think that I'm an advocate, and I'm an advocate for the people, that the city not just look beautiful and have beautiful homes and buildings, but that it represents the needs of the people, the services, the social service, recreational service, education, and that it looks at it from, and cultures as well. I think that we have a good cultural foundation, and I would like to continue to work to make sure that all parts of the city are represented. And I have a personal strong interest in which way the city is growing. I see the new apartments coming up there on Highway 29, and I see the big plan for Giovannoni. I think I'm saying that right, Giovannoni, and that's going to be, I think that's a tremendous blessing, and congratulations for the for how far it has come now in the planning. I say to you as well. I think that'd be a big contribution to the city, as well as I think it'll open up a lot of jobs and opportunities. And I'm proud of the way that people are making sure that it does not take away the needs for quality transportation, that it addresses environmental as well as wildlife. And so all those things that continue to make us a unique city. And I think that American Canyon is a unique city, and I want to advocate in that direction.
Thank you, Dr. Pierre.
Yes. Well, Dr. Pierre,
Yes.
not that Pierre, but I just wanted to know, what would you like to accomplish if we selected you to be on the Planning Commission?
I would like to accomplish to be a part of the continued work that's in development right now, to see it to where you have the completion. And when I say the completion of the Giovanni, I think that's a very big project that's taking place. And at the same time, maintaining visual, where the greenery, it's such a beautiful scene when we see the winter come and all the brown hills turn to a beautiful green. It's just peaceful. And so what I want to accomplish is the representation of the people, and to find out what do the people want, and to make sure that we're representing the 22,000 residents of American Canyon, and that there's opportunities for all in terms of their needs, and they become aware of. And so not just making sure that we have enough red lights, or that we're adding another highway or another byway, but making sure that that the people are proud of the city in which we live. I want to be an advocate. I want to represent. I came this way, education way, starting out to be a lawyer. That was my goal. I was going to school to be an attorney, to represent, and well, God had other plans at some point, and he still had me represent, but to represent him and not those other folk. So to advocate, to make life better, life more abundantly, as it says in the Bible, not just to give people life, but give them life more abundantly.
Thank you. So I actually went to law school to be an advocate as well, so I totally get you. Dr. Pierre, not Washington.
Okay.
My question for you this evening is, what is your vision for American Canyon?
My vision is inclusiveness, as the board looks very inclusive today, that it continues to look inclusive. When we go into the grocery store, we see inclusive staff in Safeway and American Canyon, and that it's a safe place where people don't have to look all around or wonder about break-ins in their homes. And I think that, and I think it's beautiful that also with this Giovanni Vanoni that there's going to be a new fire department that will be coming aboard. So that's something very much needed, and I would hope that that would then include more police staffing, which that need to be a little bit more inclusive, I would think. So just where people can go and look and see as they look around, and I can see me, I can see a reflection of myself, and when I say that, I mean whoever I am, man, woman, female, that person can see a reflection of themselves and feel like this is a good place to live. So it's not just an entrance into Napa County, but it's an entrance into a beautiful community of people. What's the signs that we used to have that said, I love American Canyon?
Well, well, there's that, but it's gateway to the Napa Valley.
But I think
I
he's
think you're
referring to the
talking
We
about
Heart
the We
Everyone
Heart-
in American
Heart everyone in
Heart
American
everyone in
Canyon.
American
yeah.
Canyon.
Yes.
We
That's
still
it.
have it. Do you want one?
Yes.
We should have.
I had
do
one,
we
but I
still
don't
have
know
some?
what happened to it.
Yes.
We should still have some. We'll make sure you get one.
I think that we need to not let that die, but make sure that that's who we are.
We'll make sure you get one then.
Thank you.
I definitely have one in my yard.
I've got some extras. I'll make sure you get one if I get an address.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Great. And so, yes, I see you at some of the Brenda Knight events as well, as she advocates and have various activities. Matter of fact, tomorrow we're taking a bus over to San Francisco for the play, the Temptations play. Yes.
Okay, my question is, describe how you might handle a situation if you met resistance when introducing a new idea or policy. How would you handle it?
I would research, I would get whatever facts, and I would think on my presentation how I would, if it's going to be oral response, or if it's an individual that I need to sit and we just talk and get on the same one accord or understanding, or give me better understanding of where I have not. And so I try to have an open mind. I'm not one who got to have it my way or the highway, not at all. But I seek to do what's right, and whether I always agree, but I go along if that's what the decision has been made, and do my best to support whatever the final decision is made. That's who I am as a person. I try to get along with all, no matter race, creed, or color. I'm a person that of love, and I think that's perhaps what I've been saying a lot of up here. A city that I love, want to love the people and to be loved, and to feel an atmosphere of love in the city.
Good thought, thank you.
I'm going to go with it now. Thank you, Dr. Pierre. So, listen, so we've gone through half our questions and we're running short on time. So I want to continue to try to get through these, and we have some important questions coming up. So Can you give an example of a city you visited or read about that has great planning, and tell us why? Or you can tell us about a city that has poor planning and tell us why. One or the other.
I will tell you about the city of Oakland. And I say that because that's my home city. And Oakland, I'll try and be quick, I understand. But I also have a radio program called the Pastors Forum, where every other Saturday at 12 noon, I bring up issues that are important to the people, and I have guest people come in to address those issues. And I say that I just did a presentation myself on where Oakland was a very beautiful city in the time that I was growing up in it, but several things happened in that city that did not respect the people in the community that lived in those various communities. They brought in that massive main post office on 7th Street. They wiped out a whole lot of homeowners, and they had to scatter. They brought in that main BART station on 7th Street. 7th Street was known throughout the nation as a beautiful place where black folk just was having a wonderful life and respecting, and they were thriving, and they had all kinds of business that was taking place there. But then when they brought in that BART, and then they brought in the post office, and then they brought that freeway straight through the community, and the whole community is just a dead horse now. There's no life in it anymore as it was. And so when you look at the history of what took place there and how it just did not focus on the needs of it being still a community, but just bringing in these various resources for the benefit of transportation of those that's hopping through. And now the gentrification, of course, has taken place there as well. And so I look at that and say, what took place? Why did this happen? Why did lives have to be destroyed and communities uprooted, and it's just not the same. So I don't know if that's clearly answering your question, but that's a negative side of what I thought was a progressive city in many ways. And now you see all the homeless, you see all the crime, you see all the division instead of the unity of the people. Who let that happen?
Excuse me, I think you run out of time, but if the council wants, we can extend a little more time to get into some of these other questions.
My apology.
If you can be brief, sir.
Yes.
Please.
Oh, no problem. I'll go
You
into
gotta
my
remember, I'm a preacher, so
Well, I was going to say that.
understand
I was you're a pastor, so I know that you're in the comfort zone up there in that pulpit. Right? But my second question for you today is, what do you think the city's economic development priority should be, and why?
Well, I think that we have a good foundation in education, and I believe education is the key to success. And if we continue to invest in the education of our children, then we are investing in our better future.
Thank you.
All right. My question is building or developing a good working relationship between the Planning Commission and the City Council. How would you go about doing that?
I would go about doing that with time where it's not the issue that you're always sitting down talking about, but sit down and get to know one another. You know, what kind of dog do you have? So that where you are a body of one, where, you know, we always talk about being one body. And so everybody has a responsibility within the body, and respecting who the mayor is and his position. And if there's a issue or difference, being in relationship with him enough that, Mr. Mayor, can I have a word with you for a moment? So that all issues can be resolved in a working and respectful way that you can move forward for the benefit of the community, of the city.
Thank you for that. Which of the following statements best reflects your personal philosophy regarding development? And please explain your answer. The first statement, the city needs more development and growth and should do whatever is needed to make that happen. Or the second statement, no development project should move forward if the community's quality of life is compromised in any way.
Kind of in between.
Okay.
I think there should always be development and growth. I think that I'm a person that every year, in fact, I just said to my wife today, can you look back over this year and see what we've accomplished? As every year, I think that we have to accomplish something. If we are the same here in December and haven't accomplished anything since January, then what are we doing? And so, but it have to be in a timely way. It's not like we just say this way again, as I said, and we're going to drop down this post office or drop down this new highway. No, let's do it in a respectful way that we still maintain community and respect.
Okay. I think you may have touched on some of these items on this question I'm going to ask you, so if you could just elaborate a bit. How do you feel about the direction American Canyon is going with projects like the Broadway District Specific Plan, Green Island and Watson Ranch, and Napa Valley Ruins and Gardens? What are your thoughts, sir?
I don't know if I can name them in particular, but I think I know you're speaking. The development that's taking place behind the high school and the new road that's opening up there. And so that's been a big need, the road in particular, because I don't know how soon we're going to be moving on Highway 29. But yes, we know that there's daily congestion on Highway 29. And so some folks know some of the back streets, but we need to make it more of a, if it's going to be a Napa Valley entrance into the wine country, it have to be more of not just a lockdown on the freeway to get there. And so whatever can be done in a timely, respectful way to make transportation, I think that's a very key as we look at changes that's taking place in transportation. And then, of course, with the new development, it's beautiful to see the new housing and communities that are coming aboard, but at the same time, are we dumping all of these new residents onto the freeway to sit? That's the challenge, I think, right there. What are we doing about transportation? And so I think that's even beautiful with the apartments coming up right there on Highway 29. I haven't seen how they're going to go in and come out from there, but again, that's just. And it's beautiful to see things developing on that side of the freeway as well on Highway 29. But I come back to transportation. We've got to make sure that people can move through the city in a respectful and timely manner.
Thank you, sir.
Council, I have one more question really quick. Dr. Pierre, a supplemental questionnaire was sent out. You did not submit it. Can you tell us why?
Yes, I can tell you why. I had 5 people that passed, 2 of them personal in family, and others very close. And so that became my priority, and I apologize that.
Thank you for the context.
Our condolences, Dr. Pierre. Thank you. That concludes our questions. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for the invitation. I appreciate the opportunity to stand before you, and God bless you and all the work that you have to do ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pierre.
One more time. Next, we have Brando Cruz.
Given man. You don't know?
Hey, if you could go to the podium, please, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Here. I think you probably got a briefing on how the meeting was being conducted this evening. You have 20 minutes, about 19 minutes. The yellow light comes on, lets you know time's running short. That gives you about 2 minutes per question.
Okay.
And then we're going in order here. So we'll begin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well, I have the honor of asking the first question. So tell us about yourself and why you want to be on the Planning Commission.
Thank you, Council Oro. So I've been a resident here at American Canyon since 2001, and all my kids, they grew up and flourished here. I had the opportunity to see American Canyon, its tremendous growth since back then. And I truly want to be part of the Planning Commission because I've seen how it's grown exponentially. And I'm a part of this community. I've done many things with this community, with the crab feed I've seen many of you folks participate in. I just want to be part of the plans to see it move forward in everything we do with this city.
Thank you.
Good evening, Brando.
Good evening.
My first question to you is, why should we select you over the other candidates? And knowing that you don't know or may not know all the other candidates, just give us an idea of why you think you're the better candidate.
Well, thank you for that question, Councilman Pierre. I'm a leader in what I do. My background, I failed to mention earlier, I'm a retired police officer. Been doing that for over 22 years, and prior to that, I was in the U.S. military. I was in the Air Force, serving. My whole career in life is meant for service. I've done it in the military, I've done it in the Air Force, done it with BART PD. I continue to do it with my community. I served in different organizations here. I'm part of the PhilAm community, which is the AC, Filipino American community here, vice president. I'm also president with a nonprofit group with the Naval Lodge Freemasonry group, which we help out with the community. So in that, I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Why would you be the better candidate than the others?
So with that being said, I play many leadership roles in everything I've done, from the military, from the police, also. I've just been in this community. I've seen how much its growth. It's grown so much, and with that, I have a lot of experience and leadership that I can give and provide for this community. I feel like I'm one of the best candidates here, well, at least I have a lot to offer. I'm sure there's a lot of great candidates, but I believe I have a lot to offer this community.
Thank you, Brando, and I appreciate and thank you for your service in the military and in law enforcement.
Likewise for you too.
Brandon, let me ask, what if we put you on the Planning Commission, what would you like to accomplish over the next 4 years?
Good question. Thank you, Councilman Joseph. Well, one of the things here that I've seen, we've been pretty much a small town USA here, and I know one thing we would like to see is development of our economy, development of the infrastructure here as far as the roads. I've seen the ruins. We have a lot to preserve here. One of the things that I've seen as a resident here, we're a bedroom community, and a lot of us, we live here, but we work elsewhere. So I would like to see jobs come back here and people actually working here and bringing money back to this community. And can you please repeat your question, Mr. Joseph?
Just what would you like to accomplish over the next 4 years as a planning commissioner?
Definitely, I would like to see the infrastructure for the roads. I would like to bring wealth back to this community and just keep it and preserve the lands that we have here as far as the open space, the parks, the trails, and things of that nature. Keep that all intact. I know it's a fine balance because, of course, we want to build. We want to, with the Green Island, with the Giovanni project and different things that we have that's coming, very exciting, but at the same time, want to ensure that we keep that balance, and we don't want to disrupt too much, our natural resources that we have here in American Canyon. So that'd be the answer to my question.
Good evening. Thank you
Good
for being here
evening.
with us tonight.
Thank you.
What's your vision for American Canyon?
My vision for American Canyon, that would be very similar to what your council would be here. It would be to ensure that we have good economic development and vitality, bring jobs here to American Canyon, ensure that different industries would want to come here and they're attracted to American Canyon, where they want to bring their business here to American Canyon, build wealth. But also, again, we have a rich, rich history here in American Canyon. Again, it's that whole fine balance. We want people to come here. So we have Napa as from around the world. People come here for the tourism and whatnot. I want people to come here to visit American Canyon, be part of that tourist attraction. They come here for Napa. They also go to Sonoma. We want people to come here to Napa, to American Canyon, spend money here, bring wealth back. You're welcome.
Describe how you might handle a situation if you met resistance when introducing a new idea or policy.
Good question. In a police force, I had a lot of that, implementing new policy, procedures, or whatever the case may be. And I'll give an example of that. I work for BART PD, and as you guys may or may not know, we had, tragic events there, which we had implementation of our body-worn camera, which we met a lot of resistance from our officers. We're just different people alike. But one thing that did help is to bring our officers together. We'd call lineup or town hall meetings and have them talk about it, ask them why whatever their gripes were. And I would use that same type of plan with the community members. If we implemented some kind of policy or procedure or whatever the case may be, I'll give our residents an opportunity to talk about these gripes and have like an open session such as this. Make sure they come to our planning commissions, come to our council meetings and whatnot, and we talk about their different issues, and we'll talk about it. Yeah.
Can I ask a follow-up to that question?
Yes.
Please.
Go ahead.
Thank you. How do you plan on getting people to actually come to the town halls or the planning commission meetings? Because like you said, American Canyon is a bedroom community. So getting people to actually come to city council meetings and planning commission meetings has been a hassle. So how would you intend on doing that?
That's a great question too. I did, and that's fair. So one of the things I've done here, a couple of things here that I've done here, and this was just probably 2 years ago, or maybe, no, actually it's last year. So we were having the issue where Asian hate and things of that nature. One of the things I do is I'm a martial artist. And one thing I brought back to the community is, hey, let's come together as a community and fight this off and at least teach this self-defense to folks. I go out there and I basically advertise, go through our council, go through you folks, through the city webpage, things that knock on people's doors. People know me just by seeing me here. I mean, I've seen all of you folks in different events and stuff, and I imagine it's difficult, but I would go out there and just be visible to the community. In any which, go to schools, whatnot, any type of community events, just show my face, add credibility to whatever I'm trying to promote.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Of course.
Give an example of a city you visited or read about that has great planning and tell us why. Or alternatively, you can tell us about a city that has poor planning and tell us why. One or the other.
Ooh. So I worked for BART PD. I worked in some major cities. I worked in San Francisco, in Oakland, and I've seen the great parts of their city, and I also seen the bad, where it seemed that they could have done better. Instead, say, homelessness. That's a big issue. California, nationwide. I've seen everywhere. I just came back from Hawaii like 2 days ago. They have the same problem out there as well. But they're doing a great job in handling it. Here in American Canyon, I don't really see it too much like I did see it in San Francisco or in Oakland. Maybe they're a bigger city, a bigger urban environment, but I believe they could do a better job as far as handling their homeless situation and their crime rate. It's crazy out there, working out there. With Mr. Washington, he worked out in Richmond, so I know he's seen some of the craziness out there, but with American Canyon, we're doing an outstanding job with their public safety. And I think some areas, they just don't believe in their public safety, and they've done a poor job in that certain aspect. So I've seen, in comparison from American Canyon to Oakland to San Francisco to Richmond, we've done a great job in comparison.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Brando, my second question is, what do you think the city's economic development priorities should be and why?
As I mentioned earlier, I think that we need to bring wealth back. We need to bring wealth to the city. And I know, again, talking about the Giovanni project, that's in the last planning commission, I've seen that and how big that can be for us. I know there's a lot of things that we need to consider as far as being responsible for our environment, EIR and things of that nature. And yes, again, we need to ensure that we're not messing with our environment and our resources. But bringing something like that and bringing another industry to be excited about coming here to American Canyon, we need to bring wealth here, because without the wealth and the money, we can't build, we can't keep stabilize the infrastructure, widen the streets, continue to build onto the ruins and things of that nature in the schools. We need wealth. We need money here. So I believe economic vitality is very important, and I believe I just answered that. So thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Brandon, let's talk about working relationships between the council and the planning commission. How would you go about developing a better working relationship between us, making sure that the planning commission understands our priorities and that the council understands concerns the commission might have?
Great question. It's a relationship. Obviously, all of us, our main goal is this, is we want to ensure the furtherance of American Canyon, make sure that we have the proper infrastructure, the wealth, the vitality, and things of that nature. All of us have different perspectives and opinions, but the main thing, I think all of us live here. So we see what's going on in this community, and we're gonna have different opinions, but it wouldn't hurt to obviously talk about them and ensure that we're all on the same. The main thing is this, is whatever development we have in the city, whatever we're trying to do, our main goal is to make sure that we're not interfering with, we have different perspectives. Some people want more wealth. Some people want to ensure that the birds are protected on, the preserve side or whatnot. It's all important. Everything's important, but the main thing is we want to ensure that we're hearing everybody, giving everybody a voice in whatever plans we try to do. I think I would use that same type of concept, of course, with the relationship with you folks, with the council, the commission, and other commissions and committees that we have here in American Canyon.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Here's my second question for you. Which of the following two statements best reflects your personal philosophy regarding development? And I would like for you to explain your answer, please. The first statement, the city needs more development and growth and should do whatever is needed to make that happen. Or, no development projects should move forward if the community's quality of life is compromised in any way.
Definitely B. I don't think, there's, like I said, I'm all for wealth and environment and building and moving us forward, but it comes with a compromise. If we are building too much, then obviously there can be a negative effect. And I'll give you an example of my sister who lives out in Los Angeles. I mean, she can walk out of her apartment, she can go to the different, coffee shops and things of that nature, but now she's confined. She doesn't have a place to walk. She comes over here, she walks to the preserve. I might be going off a tangent, but I think, yes, so we want to build, we want to continue to prosper here, but then it comes with responsibility. If it's affecting us as far as our preserve and things of that nature, then I think we should, take pause and be responsible. Make sure we're doing the proper planning, investigations, or whatever it may be to ensure that we're not affecting our compromising ourselves. But yeah, I more lean towards the B, the second part of your answer.
Kind of sounds like your answer is a little bit of both. Like, yes, develop, but not if it's compromising our quality of life. Am I understanding you correctly?
It is a little bit of both.
Okay.
Because the first question, from the way I understand it, is build at all costs no matter what. I mean, that's the way I understand that question. Yes, build, but if it's going to compromise us, don't. So I'm leaning towards, yes, I want to build. I want us to have economic wealth and vitality, but at the same token, let's not do it at a cost of, giving up our natural resources and things of that nature and ruining our infrastructure. So it's a difficult question to answer, but I lean towards, yes, let's build, but in time. Let's not just build right away to where we can't manage anything else, and it ruins other things it compromises us.
Excellent. I understand. Thank you.
Okay.
kind of touched on some of these points I'm going to be asking you, but please feel free to elaborate a bit.
Okay.
How do you feel about the direction American Canyon is going with projects like the Broadway District-specific plan, Green Island and Watson Ranch, and the Napa Valley Ruins and Gardens?
Excellent question. I think all of those plans are amazing. So one thing that I'm very proud of here is that, like I said, I came here and there were still bee farms on American Canyon Road. I don't know if many of you folks have been here that long. I see some smiles there, yes. I mean, I've come there and I remember when Safeway was brand new. That was like the first major building that we've had here, well, when I was here. I know the mayor's been here since the 90s and before then, but that was something new to me. And so with everything else, with the Broadway, the plans, the ruins, it's exciting because one thing that we've done I'm very proud of is we're here, we embrace our history. Like the ruins, I was just there when you guys had the fundraiser, and it was actually the first time, so shame on me because I've never been there until that one time. And it's like, wow, we're able to get the McGrath, those folks out there, and to do these fundraisers and things like that, but we're also embracing the graffiti, the culture of the ruins, and it's going to be part of our city, and for as long as, we can, again, we're not going to compromise that. We don't want to compromise that, but I think all of those projects are important because, again, it goes back to, bringing back vitality to and economic wealth to our city is what we want to do, but at the same time, we want to preserve that history and what we have here. Don't just get rid of it because that's our trademark. That's American Canyon.
Thank you. That concludes our questions.
Well,
Appreciate
thank
you
you.
coming in.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks, Randall.
Next, we have our final candidate, Hai Nguyen.
Hello, good evening. Do
Evening.
you know all the council members here?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, we'll do introductions. Leon Garcia, I'm the mayor.
Hi, I'm the Vice Mayor, Miriam Abudamas.
Nice meeting you.
I'm Councilmember Mark Joseph.
Councilmember David Oro.
Councilmember Pierre Washington, but earlier I was Dr. Pierre. Inside joke.
So you probably got a little briefing on how the meeting will, this interview will go. You have about 20 minutes. 20 minutes, yellow light will go on at about 19. That means we're kind of running out of time. You have about 2 minutes per question, and we'll go in order. So we'll start.
Thank you. I have the honor of asking the first question. So tell us about yourself and why you want to be on the Planning Commission.
I'm married. I'm a father of 6 children. I'm locally just recently moved up to American Canyon. I'm right off Entrada Road. I'm a field superintendent. We build high rises. I work for Suffolk. I figured with the knowledge I have in the construction industry, I could use it and help the community out with my just participate. So.
Thank you. You mind moving the microphone up a little bit? There you go. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for applying and being here tonight. My first question for you, knowing that you don't know all the other candidates, just kind of explain to us why you think you should be selected over the other candidates for this role.
I'm young, I'm ambitious, and I'm willing to, spend my time and help out the community. I want to learn new aspects of helping out the community and how can I participate and make that happen. That's about it.
That's a good answer. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. If we selected you to be on the Planning Commission, what would you like to accomplish over the next 4 years?
That's a good question. So, I would like to see the community be a part of what's in the near future, what's planning to build more communities and centers for children, you know, upgrade, field parks, and because I'm out by, I want to say Veterans Park or Memorials Park off Broadway. I know there's a lot of children there, always playing at the park. I would like just to see if we can make the park better, you know, so, and we could upgrade some of this Highway 29 traffic conditions and just.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for being here this evening. What's your vision for American Canyon?
My vision for American Canyon is to see the city grow. As I noticed, there's more construction activities towards the east. Make it a lot safer. I kind of hit a dead end there, sorry.
Okay. Describe how you might handle a situation if you met resistance when introducing a new idea or policy. How would you handle a situation like that?
I'm not fully understanding the question.
Okay, you're having a meeting and somebody has you meet resistance. You have a new idea you want to bring forward, and people are pushing back on it. Okay, or got a new policy, you know, that you're considering, and you're supporting it, and they're pushing back on it. How would you handle that with that group?
The best way to handle a situation when you get pushback on the idea is you come up with a better proposal on how and explain the situation a lot better. So pre-planning your proposal and talking it through and getting other people input on the plan to see could we meet in a happy medium. I think that's the best way.
Mm-hmm.
Just to talk it through, right?
Okay, thank you.
Can you give us an example of a city you visited or read about that has great planning, and tell us why? Or alternatively, you can tell us about a city that has poor planning and tell us why. One or the other.
One of the cities that I worked in, which had a good plan, was I was part of Berkeley's Residence Inn, the hotel, which is the 17th story off Center and Shattuck. That was the first high-rise in Berkeley. So their planning, the best way they planned was adopt a lot of SF codes from San Francisco in order to implement in their building department to make that building safe and secure for the public. And so they planned that one and adopted SFO codes, and now they're also moving forward in building another two 27-story building for student housing. So that plan of allowing Marriott to build there, to upgrade their building codes, and now they're able to move forward on the two 27-story buildings. So I think that was a good approach on how Berkeley made a good planning decision.
Thank you.
My second question for you is, what do you think the city's economic development priorities should be and why?
Well, economically, if you're more businesses around, that will help, you know, generate more income and more taxes, and that we could have a more bigger budget to grow the city, right? So more businesses in the community.
Okay, thank you.
The next question I wanted to ask is how you would go about developing a good working relationship between the city council and the planning commission in a manner in which the city council would understand concerns that the planning commission might have, but the commission would also understand what the priorities of the council. So what kinds of steps would you recommend to make that a better working relationship?
I suggest a lot more sidebar meetings where we plan with each other and brainstorm ideas and how if the council is not understanding the outlook of the commissioning side, we need to talk it through and make sure both sides clearly understands that before the decision is made, that it's important that both sides understand the process before the decision is made. So it just takes more meetings and more brainstorming.
I'm going to read to you two statements, and I want you to tell me which one best aligns with your personal philosophy regarding development. And I would like you to tell me why, please. The first statement is, the city needs more development and growth and should do whatever is needed to make that happen. Or two, no development project should move forward if the community's quality of life is compromised.
Could you repeat that, please?
Absolutely. Do you want me to repeat the whole question or just the statements?
The statements.
Okay, the first one, the city needs more development and growth and should do whatever is needed to make that happen. And the second statement is, no development project should move forward if the community's quality of life is compromised in any way.
Before any decision is made with the city, on projects, we should hold and get the community input and what's projected as an impact for the community. So we shouldn't move forward without, asking the community and forecasting the impacts. So that way the community has a voice. So that's my answer.
It's a great answer, thank you.
We've kind of touched on the question I was going to ask you here, but if you could elaborate a little bit, please. How do you feel about the direction American Candy is going with projects like the Broadway Specific Plan, Green Island, and the Watson Ranch, and Napa Valley Ruins and Garden? How do you think about those projects?
I'm not too aware of all the projects, but with the list that you have there, I think the city it's moving forward firmly on getting these projects completed and started. I think it's a great move for the city. And I'm saying that not knowing what impacts it causes, what downsides to that, but if the city has made a decision for all the projects to move forward already, I'm thinking that it's best for the economic of the city. So.
Okay, thank you. This question was asked also. Notice you have not submitted a question sheet that we sent out.
Yes, I have not. As far as the questionnaire, I have not done that. I noticed, got the email last week, but since the holiday, it slipped my mind.
Okay. All right, thank you. That concludes our questions. thank you for coming in this evening.
I do have one question for you. You said you just moved to Cantata Way?
Entrada.
Entrada.
Entrada Circle.
Entrada Circle. All right. Well, maybe I might stop by and say hi, because if you said Cantata, I would have been close to your neighbor. All right, well, welcome. Thank you.
He's always looking for a new friend. So.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm always open for one, too.
All right, good for you.
Thank you.
Close to Dr. Pierre, who knows everybody.
All right, well, thank you for coming in. Please join us.
I'll take them. Did you circle your top three? Everyone, please circle your top three. Wherever they are on the sheet, just circle them. Thank you.
Not done yet. I'm not done yet.
You're not done?
I'm not done yet. Okay.
Not ready? Okay, I'm gonna start with these.
You guys, I want to say to you guys, thank you so much for your interest in the Planning Commission. And I genuinely, genuinely, genuinely hope that you stay engaged regardless of tonight's outcome. I feel like this was probably one of the hardest Planning Commission interviews that I've sat through so far. And I think I might say that like every time, but we had a ton of candidates and you guys are all great and super qualified. So genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Yeah, I echo the same thing.
I would agree and encourage you to apply for other commission spots or utility rate commissions, so on and so forth. Get
City
involved.
Council.
City council, not right away, maybe, but
Yep, go right ahead.
So theme song we should be playing for this event? Kind of like theme show?
Like the Jeopardy music?
Yeah, something like that. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, thank you all for being here tonight. Very important work the city has to do, so I think we all recognize that. And this is an incredible place. It is. Got a, talk about unfinished work. One term I was serving, this whole upper floor was empty. And we've made it into a city hall.
I remember that.
Yeah. So. Supposed to be city hall officially. It was a spec business office building. Happened around the 2008 crash, and we got it for a very good price. Yeah. So good things happen. We really appreciate people engaged. Go to have that conversation with everybody out there about what's happening.
Mayor, what year did you move to American Canyon?
In 2000.
2000. I just wanted you to know that I've been here since 1988.
Yep.
and I've been here since '92. We are the old.
Looks are deceiving. I'm the old timer.
In '88, you couldn't even vote.
I couldn't. But he was in his interview. He was talking about Safeway when it was first built, and I remember when Safeway wasn't even there because I lived down the street. I actually grew up down the street, and there was a lot of vacant parcels in this city. This being one of them.
Yeah, I remember running into Joan Bennett, former council member, at Safeway opening day. I mean, it was like something like 6:30 in the morning, 7 o'clock, something like that. I said, wow, this is really, really cool. Yeah. And there was no high school.
No, I didn't go to AC High.
Yeah.
Bus to Vintage at 7 a.m.
Yeah. Well, my daughter just missed going to American Canyon High School. She was a junior. They were only accepting freshmen and sophomores, so I know that experience of getting up.
I'm ready. Yeah. Mayor Garcia, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. I have Devet Mohammed received 4 votes. Eric Altman, 3 votes. Brando Cruz, 3 votes. Tammy Wong, 2 votes. Dr. Harold Pierre, 2 votes. Elmer Minade, 1 vote. And Hai Nguyen, no votes. So we have 3 openings. Our apparent top 3 would be Devet Mohammed, Eric Altman, and Brando Cruz. The next 2 would be tied, Tammy Wong and Dr. Harold Pierre. And then Elmer Minade.
So we got 2 clear for as the top 2, correct?
We have, top 1 was Devet.
Uh-huh.
And then the next 2 would be tied, Eric Altman and Brando Cruz. Going down a level would be then Tammy Wong and Dr. Pierre.
Okay, so we have a tie with 2 people in second place, second and third.
Yes.
It's tied.
Second and third. So
Correct.
That would make 3.
That would make 3.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just going to mark my pen. Okay, for my sake, again, it's, go over the list again, please, the top 3.
Devet Mohammed is 4 votes. Eric Altman, 3 votes. Brando Cruz, 3 votes. Tammy Wong, 2 votes. Dr. Harold Pierre, 2 votes. Elmer Minade, 1 vote.
And Hai Nguyen?
Pardon me? Highwin was no votes.
All right. Thank you. So we have a tie for, no, we have them all covered. 4, 3, 3. Okay, that's 3 completed. Very good.
So we would be looking for a minute order, a motion.
The motion for minute order. What we'd like to do is get you sworn in this evening.
I'll go ahead and make the motion.
Well, if I may make a point of order, if all 5 of us voted for 3 people each, there should be 15 votes.
No.
There are 15 votes.
Okay. 7.
Devet has 4. Eric Altman, 3.
7.
Elmer Minade, 1.
8.
Tammy Wong, 2.
10.
Harold Pierre, 2. And Brando Cruz, 3.
Oh,
It's 15.
okay. I was counting the wrong number. Okay. I apologize. I will forsake any understanding of quick math in my head.
Okay, so now can I make the motion?
You can make the motion, please.
Excellent. I'd like to make the motion to appoint Devet Mohammed, Eric Altman, and Brando Cruz to the Planning Commission for a 4-year term.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Oro,
Yes.
Councilmember Joseph,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Abadamas,
Yes.
Mayor Garcia.
Yes. Thank you, Council.
You. So if Devet and Eric and Brando are here, I'd like to do your oath of office now.
Really appreciate everybody coming in and interviewing. There is a lot to community life, and I would certainly hope that, and I'm sure all the council does, that you continue to stay engaged. The opinion and the commitment of our engaged community is what makes American Canyon this very special place we all live in. So I thank you all for taking the time and the effort to participate in this interview process today. To those of you who we have selected, congratulations. We look forward to working with you as City Council.
If the three of you could go to the podium, please. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to have Devet, if you want to go first. I'm going to have you raise your right hand and just repeat after me. So you're going to say I and then state your name.
I, Devet Mohammed,
American Canyon Planning Commissioner,
American Canyon Planning Commissioner,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
discharge the duties from which I am about to enter.
Thank you. Congratulations. Eric, go ahead.
Shake hands.
Sure, thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You'd think I might remember it.
I
by
know.
now,
Can
but
you do it by heart?
But I don't. So, I, Eric Altman,
American Canyon Planning Commissioner,
American Canyon Planning Commissioner,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign
against all
and
enemies,
domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the
Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, though some might question my mental,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations. Okay. I state your name.
I, Brando Cruz,
American Canyon Planning Commissioner,
American Canyon Planning Commissioner,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations. Oh, you got him. Nice. Cherry. Congratulations. We're going to actually have, Cherry was quick. So we actually have the oaths for you to sign. I thought we were going to have to do them later.
Do you have those prepared now?
Make a copy.
We can take that after the meeting here. Council and the audience, we have completed our business for the evening. Thank you all for attending. Thank you all who applied. We are adjourned.
Good night, American Canyon.